Hey everybody, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Okay, let's try that again.
Sorry about that. Microphone shenanigans. And
Muted myself.
all right, and just no robot, nothing of that nature.
All right, we need to upgrade seer.
H. Did that work?
I don't know. Did it work?
I don't know. I tried. Sarah, let me know if you got upgraded. I'm a little quiet.
Is
Okay.
our gain maxed out?
I just maxed out my mic. Hopefully that's good. You know what this is like. It's always a thing.
Seer's upgraded.
All right, Sarah's upgraded. Perfect. And no robots. Even better. So I'll go ahead and start recording as well.
Oh, I should do the update.
What update?
Not the update. Sorry. I should go ping everyone that we're starting. Apparently, I'm super quiet, by the way.
Well, yeah, you always need to speak up. I think we're sitting a little far from the microphone.
Well, you scooted it towards you.
Yeah, I
You're
did.
doing the bulk of the talking.
I am doing the bulk of the talking, and I'll turn it towards me and sit up a little closer to it.
Henry Bell's podcast is going live now. Join us over on Twitch.
Okay. Y'all can probably still hear Dunn's typing, though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not great at podcaster, okay? This is the only podcast I do, and my mic is what my mic is.
As an update for everyone who wanted us to order the tiny mics.
It didn't work out. They were, like, literally unusable. It was very sad. Okay, but I'll make sure to try and speak up a little bit, and I'll do all the things that I usually do to try and make us, sound better. All right. So, welcome to our main or what is this called? The Main Rebalance 2023 podcast. Woo! Yeah, I got a PowerPoint for you all. I've got a PowerPoint today. So you've got Jill and you've got Dunn. We're going to go through a 53-page PowerPoint about the changes we are making to mains. Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun for everybody. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure I've got everything in place. No, I don't want to be on that one. I want to be on this one. No, I don't want to be there. And I want to be there. Okay, yes. Okay, I got everything in place. So.
You sound more panicked than I do.
Do I?
A little bit.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to Tokotas podcast on December 10th for Main Rebalance 2023. I've actually hit the record button, so I did a proper little intro that time. Let's kick this off. It's going to be intense. It's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy myself. Hopefully you will too. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
You still have the splash screen up.
I still have the splash screen up. Okay. No splash screen. Ha! Alright. Now can everyone see my screen without the splash screen? Perfect. Okay. Welcome to our PowerPoint. Dunn's going to be in charge of watching for anything that we need, and I'll make sure to pause for questions at the right places. So, Breeding Rebalance 2023, don't get your dander up. Firstly, how the heck do mains work now? For us to know what changes are happening, we actually need to understand how they currently work. Current rates and rarities. These are our current mains and where they sit in the rarities. The only common main we have is natural. So in this, you'll hear common, you'll hear natural. They're basically interchangeable. I'm never going to say that we'll never get another common main. We have no plans for it, but that's why we wrote it out as common instead of natural and everything. And then for our uncommons, we have the half, rough, short, and silky. For rare, we have long, razor, sphinx. And for very rare, we have Barbary, curly, wire, yeti. We learned something very fun about rare versus very rare when we did this, which is humans are stupid, and we'll get to that in a minute. How do main pass rates work? You put 2 Tokotas into a breeding. Their mains determine the pass rates for the pups. Every combination is assigned a unique pass rate based on human-determined rarity. Yes, that literally means that a human sat down and decided, even for gnat mane, what a gnat versus half is versus gnat versus short versus a gnat versus silky versus gnat versus rough, and they're not the same for whatever reason that someone decided then and there. And that is true of every combination. Every single combination of manes is human determined and, for lack of a better word, hard coded. Secret created this wonderful, awesome, like prime number formula that allows us to pull combinations super quick and easy, but there isn't actually like a standardized formula in any capacity for this. And I know that most of us know how breedings work, but for the sake of people who come later who are new to Tokos and read these things, we have this laid out. Some combinations may pass unrelated manes, combo manes, or no manes. There are a few combos done. One of them is Sphinx and
Barb.
Sphinx Barb passes no mane. It doesn't pass you a Sphinx. It doesn't pass you a Barb. All you can get out of is gnat manes. So we have situations like that. We have combo manes where you put like half and Barb together. You'll notice a trend here. Barb tends to be involved in a lot of this. You put those together, you can pop random manes like razors. And then you have some combinations that just pass, like when you put a Sphinx and a half together, you get a short mane. Like, just because. So there's a lot of arbitrarily decided things of that nature in what we're doing. And there are a few traits, companions, consumables that may affect these rates. We all know them. Tribe bonus, faction bonus, IFO 2, stylus token.
Locke would like to point out, alternatively, someone tried their best.
Yes, I know someone tried their best. Like, this is
every single team that's been in charge of Tokos has contributed to this mess.
Yeah, every single, myself included. Myself 100% included. Don't think I exclude myself from this.
Oh, I messed up wire hard.
Oh yeah, done wrecked wire. Like, absolutely wrecked wire.
Not in a bad way, just...
In comparison to everything else, we looked at it and went, why?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It looked like a good idea at the time.
We found what we think is the original breeding document for this. And we looked at those numbers, which have no rhyme or reason to them. Those numbers were taken, translated to another team, and then another team, and then another team, and then another team. And we actually have a slide dedicated to why the system is the way that it is currently. So there's all of these. And then we're actually showing a couple of the numbers off here to the side so that you can get an understanding of what we're talking about. But yeah, this is a culmination of every team that's ever touched it without stopping, going back and doing it. It's the same thing that happened with builds, when nobody really stopped and like thought about the future when we would expand, and nobody, oh god, there's 100 systems that had this. I mean, we've had to do an activity rebalance because we never thought about the future. We've had to do a build rebalance because we didn't think about the future. And now here we are at mains where they've made it to the top of the list. We look at it and go, oh, yeah, that's going to get complicated. We better stop and do something about it. But here we go. We're showing you, these are some actual breeding odds over here to the side. So the natural X short, you have a 50% chance at a nat, a 25% chance at a short, and a 25% chance at a half. Why? I don't know. And then if you look at the short, it's a 50-50 between nat and short, and there is no half main chance in there. Don't ask me why they work that way. They do. I have a couple theories, but this is how it is. So this is how main pass rates currently work. Why is this an issue? A couple bullet points here. The current main pass rates are not broken. I cannot look at the system and say, this system is broken. It is not broken. But it doesn't scale very well. When we added, when short main added, it started compounding this issue. When Razor came along, you can see like where fractures in the concept of half and short weren't working well with them having a chance to be like rolled in other breedings. It was taking up so much of like the nat main chance. And you can just see where that's happening. When you added Silky and then moved Silky, you can see where it highlights more of the problems. And then when we put Wire in there, Wire was kind of the tipping point where we stopped, looked at everything and went, this is not going to scale very well in the future. The way that we have this set up, it's just not going to scale well with combinations. So the current main pass rates are not broken. They're arbitrarily decided, sure, but that doesn't mean they're broken. and they just don't scale. All, as I said, all current main pass rates are human determined individually, making some reigns more desirable than others for breeding of the same rarity. A good example of this is for the current rare mains are long, razor, and sphinx. They're the same rarity, and they're bred with a nap mane. But for no reason that anyone knows, a nap mane or a long mane only has like a 2% chance at popping, where a sphinx has an 8. So the sphinx is more desirable for breeding with the nap mane because. And there's other things like that show up in the system. However, there are dead end mains, such as the sphinx doesn't pass well with any very rare main because of looking at them and making a bias based on what they looked like. Sphinx doesn't breed with Barbary, Curly, or Yeti very well. It basically dead ends. It has nowhere to go up to a very rare from where it is right now. And there are combinations that don't pass any main, even the mains used in the breedings. Given where these show up and that there's maybe 4 or 5 of them, these actually feel like they might be oversights. They were like a gap in the system. Someone was like, oh, well, they shouldn't breed anything. And that's not a big deal. There's only one. But when you look around, that just means that there's a couple mains that are just significantly less powerful because they have combinations that don't go anywhere. And finally, everything is a secret. And that's how we got to where we are. Because the first people who made it had a secret. And then they handed the secret off to other people who weren't involved in the first secret conversations. And nobody else on the team has a history of this that they can tell them because it's a secret. And then it moves on to the next person. And again, it's a secret. People get in trouble for sharing this secret. And I'm not saying it was bad that it was a secret. But because it was, it made it difficult for other people to spot mistakes and gaps and weird things that were happening in the numbers because maybe, and all right, I'll throw shade at all the admins. This is all of us. Not necessarily the right person with the right background was making the decisions. And it's not, they weren't doing anything wrong. They've been handed to a random person who is now in charge of these numbers, and they're making the best decisions they can, not realizing that like 7 other people would be better suited to make these decisions because they're better suited mathematically for it. And that's okay. It's what happened. And because this secret kind of just tumbled along for 8 years at this point, it ends up in this like weird state where someone finally breaks it out, which is what we did at Wire, because we're trying to figure out how to fit Wire in, and we've got everything laid out to look at. And I stared at it and what the hell happened here? How did we get here? And then Dan goes, I don't know. And other math people look at it and go, well, okay, I kind of see what happened here, but how did nobody catch it? Well, nobody caught it because nobody was allowed to look at it. And that's just how it is. So, yes, no one in the team can give you a great reason it was a secret. There's a ton of guesses as to why, and it's just a compounding issue of one thing not everyone was allowed to look at, whereas every other aspect of the team, everyone's allowed to look at it, so we catch these things faster. Okay, questions about the current way breeding works. And no, we aren't going through every pass rate. Don't ask, we'd be here for hours. Remember, every single combination is unique.
When we did Wire back in, was it May? We have a how many tab spreadsheet of every possible combination, and it was nasty to figure out.
It was terrible to look at. It was so confusing. I want to say that there was a tab for every main, and even then it was confusing. So, questions about the current way that it works, and I know I railed on it pretty hard, but I do stand by the current system's not broken. It has some weird choices, and those are weird in my opinion, of course.
And we're just as culpable. We took, when we introduced Rough, we were like, well, we'll just copy what Short's doing. That'll be fine. Not realizing that Short was messed up.
Hi, Caesar.
Yeah, here you are for your cameo.
As you do. So,
there are people typing, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, let me be clear. I'm not passing all the blame like back to every breeding manager or breeding admin or dad that came before me, because rough, we, as Dunn said, we just copied short thinking that'll be fine, not realizing that that was how short ended up as bad as it was.
For Silky, we copied Razor, and then when we did the Silky rebalance, we realized we didn't actually do it properly.
No, we did it wrong, so that Silky was another dead ender. And then when we put wire in there, like I said, that was just kind of like the precipice where I looked at it and went, oh, this is only just going to get worse and worse and worse. Ergo, we made like a minor modification mid-year for Silky in preparation for doing this. All right, what questions we got?
Oh, they're still typing.
Okay.
Everybody's saying, let Caesar speak. You just want food, don't you, bud?
Of course he does. He is a greedy cat.
Well, when we get through question section, I will go feed him while you continue onward.
That makes sense.
We got 3 people typing, so.
Okay. Giving them a moment. Oh, and yes, there will be a raffle. There's always a raffle. It's a podcast.
I did not prepare for this.
I know you didn't.
Ugh.
It's fine. We'll raffle something.
You figure it out then.
I will. I always do.
He is being so insistent.
Well, of course he is. He is Caesar. Caesar is through his 5th collar in 3 months. So now he's just got a bow tie on. Like, because collars get expensive the more you have to do.
It was a 2-pack for $5.
So he's got a red bow tie. I got a picture around here. I'll send it along. Any one of them finished typing their question?
Nope, not yet.
Oh man, these are going to be some intense questions.
Oh, yeah. I'm so nervous.
Okay.
Okay. What was the rate on most rare to least rare in the extremely rare mains? You guys said the numbers weren't consistent across the main types, right?
Oh, so you want to know like the long sphinx of it? 5% to 15 in the very rare, which makes no sense because the rares were also maximum 15.
Well, actually, the rares were coming around like 10.
10 to 15 in a couple cases, and one of the very rares was at the same numbers, which means it's not a very rare, it's a rare. Ergo, I said some stupidity happened there. So yeah, it was...
And that was us, because we assigned rarities on these. Caesar, no!
Caesar, get your... Do not eat eggs.
I will feed you. 1 second, bro.
Okay, it's been a day in this household. Since literally the clock turned midnight, the world has been against this podcast. But we're here anyway. Caesar's just another cog in that machine to be against this podcast. But yeah, it's somewhere... And again, it depends. If it's breeding with nat mains, it has a different average. If it's breeding with other mains, it has a different average. So rare mains were somewhere between... technically like 2% to 15% maximum, and the 15% shouldn't have been a very rare main. Mm-hmm. So that's where those stand.
Okay. How do these currently work? According to the individual main pages, I couldn't understand them. Curly X Silky, desiring Curly, missing in the Curly page. If it's missing, you can't get it.
Yeah.
Razor X Yeti, desiring Yeti, listed twice. That looks like that's totally a screw up on mine. I'll go look at that. Mm-hmm. Also, why is Curly so much better for furthering mains than anything else? Actually, I think it isn't.
It is.
It is? Oh, fair.
Yeah, okay. I've been through this 100 times over. Long mane got the short end of the stick. Curly is the best for breeding other things. Yeti pops everywhere. So while it's not the best for breeding other things, when you're playing in the very rares, you're most likely to get a Yeti than anything else.
Okay, so Curly X Silky works in the roller.
Mm-hmm.
Missing on here. Why is it missing on here? Let me go look at the massive fucking spreadsheet.
Well, you want to know why it's missing? Because we're humans, and it was hundreds of rows of data to enter.
No, it is supposed to be null. Unless I change... Did I update this? Silky X Curly. Okay, no. It used to be a null, and I gave it odds, and I never put it back in the table.
Well, there you go. Yeah, Curly X Silky was one of those nulls, which we were like, why is this a null? Dunn apparently gave it odds, and then it just never got up on the table.
So yeah, in June or July is when we kicked that live. Then it had odds.
Yep, it had odds then because it didn't previously. So before June, it did not have odds.
I could go update this table, but I have to really overhaul
I
all of
was about
these.
like, don't. We're literally about to rip those tables out and replace them with something else. All right.
Okay.
And last question.
Da, 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 da. Yep, I think we're good. So carry on while I go feed this ridiculous cat.
All right. So, let's bring mains into the family.
Where'd you go?
What do we want to accomplish with this main rebalance? We want a system that will scale easily as we introduce more and different mains. We want to standardize formulas to provide a consistent experience while breeding. We want to remove gaps in main combinations. We want breeding to be fun. These are the goals that Dunn and I set forward for ourselves as we worked on the system. Everyone else who came in to help with like the original plans, this is the goals they looked at as well. And we looked between two major system rebalances and picked one to go with. How are we going to pull this off? We're going to do it by introducing main families, by defining all mains with attributes. Main families is the system we decided to go with between the two that we looked at pretty in depth. We're going to standardize main pass rates by family and rarity. And we're going to introduce the chance to step up rarity in breedings with matching attributes and rarity. Introduce the chance to step down rarity in all breedings. And clarify how breeding traits, consumables, and companions will work with the new system. Spoiler! They don't change! They didn't need to, so they don't. And then these are a few main additions and changes that everyone needs to be aware of before we go into the full system. As announced in June, we have a 5-year plan to add 8 new mains to Tokotas. Yay! Curly will be shifting from very rare to rare. Why? Because its numbers were already in the rare category. They already matched the other rare mains. They did not match the very rare mains. So Curly's going to go ahead and just take that shift down to rare to match its current numbers, rather than lowering its numbers. Silky will be remaining as uncommon. That does fit into our new plan. However, with the rebalance, our original plans for rarities and combo mains have shifted, so the table from June is no longer perfectly accurate. And that one you saw, oh, these things will breed up into this, and these things will breed up into this, and so do that. Given the shift we're doing for main families, that is not accurate. All of those mains will still exist, but of the new things coming, a few things are going to shift rarity, a few things are going to shift around a little bit. So that table is not accurate, but those mains will still exist as part of our 5-year plan, and Curly and Silky are the two that have moved around. Silky earlier this year and Curly as of January. Of the new ones, Crested moved and will actually be very rare instead of uncommon. And combo mains have been removed. We'll talk more about that later, and I'll give a proper definition of what a combo main is at that point as well. Here's the upcoming mains and rarities for them. In common, we're going to keep the natural. Uncommon will be gaining bison and caribou. Rare will be gaining curly and a fleece and strand. And very rare will be gaining crested, highland, regal, and wrinkle. So this is what the final chart will look like when all of the new mains have joined. And if you didn't know the names of all of them, now you do.
Oh, we just said them. Now I don't think we did. I thought we did.
I think I put fake names on the original chart, and then we switched them to the real names later, but I don't know which chart I put up. So, introducing main families. Each main is gaining 2 attributes to describe the main. More or less, how much main they have compared to the natural main, Everything will be compared to the natural main. The natural main will be the baseline for what we're doing. Smooth or textured, the type of fur they have compared to the natural mane. Mane families are collections of manes with the same attributes. Natural manes have no attributes. That means they don't have more or less, they have none. And they don't have smooth or textured, they have none. So they have no attributes. And all future manes will have these attributes assigned at creation. So when we add wrinkle in, we will assign it its two attributes at that time, and that will determine what mane family it belongs to. And these attributes are intended to be generalized. They are not perfect descriptions of each mane. The new mane families. This is what it's going to look like. We have 4 of them. We have less smooth, less textured, and more textured. And then this is the assignment that we've given everything right now. So a few places, like more smooth, we have a fair bit, such as the Barbary, Highland, and Yeti. And in other places, we didn't have a lot, so they've got only 1. But as everything gets added, we'll put them in here. And this also will probably work as a guiding light for us if we don't have a lot of, less smooth, then we might go looking at doing that next rather than making another more smooth or another more textured where we already have a lot of manes. All right, so these will be the new mane families, and of course this will be visible for everyone. The manes will have their attributes on them. You'll know what they are. They won't be secret. And now we're going to pause because we need to do a disclaimer. We are going to have our breeding numbers for manes be public going forward. But we have to stop for just a minute and talk about what that means for the group. Because they've been secret before, and I talked about the problems that happened because they were secret. Becoming public does not mean that all the problems go away. The system is still random, whether it's public or private, so you are not guaranteed any mane in any breeding. It's still going to be random. For example, your breeding has a 10% chance to pass a long mane. That does not mean you are guaranteed 1 long mane in every 10 pups, because perhaps it's always been like that, and you didn't get 1 long mane in every 10 pups before that. You're not going to get it after. Having the numbers in your head can create a false sense of something is wrong. That's not true. It's just RNG. Every pup will still only have a 10% chance. You do not have a better chance the next pup will be it because you know it's 1 in every 10 is the average. Sending us notes complaining about your breeding results is still not okay with public numbers versus private numbers.
Report errors, of course.
Always report errors. Do not note us and say, this should have been a long mane because I haven't rolled a long mane in 20 pups. It's still RNG.
RNG be RNG.
Yep. And yes, some of these numbers, probably most of these numbers, are going to be lower than you expected them to be. They take a couple people by surprise. Usually the first time someone gets a look at the breeding numbers, they'll be like, I'm sorry, did you say 2%? I'll be like, yeah, it's always been 2%. And these numbers are not going to be set in stone forevermore just because they're public. I suspect that one of the major reasons they were not public previously was so that they could be changed without any sort of uproar. So I will just address that in this podcast, and of course I'll address it anytime that it comes up in chat as respectfully as possible. We have to change numbers because the game changes. What worked for 20 people doesn't work for 200 people, doesn't work for 2,000 people, and 2,000 is not an exaggeration. We have about 2,000 players who come online and offline throughout the year actively. Most of them aren't in the Discord, but we see their traffic come through Tokotas, and we see their comments come through the threads as we're processing. But they don't hang out in Discord, or they never speak in it, even if they're in there. So Even though sometimes we feel like we're only about 75 people, we are significantly bigger. And when we're dealing with those numbers, what works for a small group doesn't work for a big group. So we have to adapt. We'll make changes exactly like we're doing right now, where we're trying to make a change that will standardize the process and streamline it, making it easier for everyone to understand and for everyone to up our scale as we go forward.
Proof to your point, we actually have 1,273 members in Discord.
Oh, see? 1,273 members.
It always yells at me when I'm about to do an everyone ping.
Because of how many members we have. We're big enough, we could be a proper discovery community if we wanted. We've never done that. We're probably not going to. Who knows? Okay, so this is the public breeding numbers disclaimer. If you're upset by this disclaimer, I'm sorry, but we're going to stand pretty firm on these tenets while we make them public for everybody. Okay, the new formula. That's right, there's a formula, because there's always a formula. This part's going to get mathematical. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. You can watch this as many times as you need. Also, we're just going to publish a bunch of charts with the final totals on them for you. So, you don't even have to do the math yourself if you don't want to. Each main rarity has a base pass rate, or a BPR, that is the starting point. Modifiers determined by the mains used in the breeding affect the base pass rate. Bonuses are also added to the base pass rate after all other. Did you hear that?
Yes, you continue. I'll go check on.
Sorry, guys. 1 second.
Joyful screech.
Joyful screeching? Okay, joyful screeching's okay. Sorry. Bonuses are also added to the base pass rate after all other modifiers. So there's going to be modifiers that happen based on rarity, attributes, things of that nature, and then bonuses such as tribe, faction, IFO, all of that's applied after the modifiers. And common mains is calculated as the remainder after all other mains are calculated. So on these charts, you're not going to see lines for base pass rate, we put it on there, but for rarity modifiers, you're not going to see one for common, because if you have a 50% chance at getting an uncommon main, then common is the other 50. It's just what's ever left over after the other mains in the breeding have been determined. So there's not really a calculation for it other than it is
What's left
the
over?
sum of everything else minus 100 or minus 1 depending on the formula you're looking at. All right, so here's base pass rate. This is the base number we start for everything. For uncommons, their base start is a 20%. For rares, it's a 6, and for very rares, it's 2.25. We're going out to the second decimal point. In any situation where a third decimal point was required, we have rounded up in favor of the main and done it that way. All right, so this is base pass rate. When I'm doing it in formulas, you will see it as BPR. Next, we have the rarity modifier. The rarity modifier is determined by matching rarities in a breeding. Any breeding where the rarity of two mains do not match, then the no matching rarity modifier is used. If the rarity of two mains do match, then the modifier used is based on their rarity. Matching rarity is one part of getting a step-up rarity chance. We'll talk about the step-up rarity chance in its own slide, but just be aware that this matching rarity is one aspect of it. So we're going to look over here, and we have a little chart for the rarity modifier. When you have no matching rarity, it's a 1. That basically means you're not getting a bonus, but you're also not getting a penalty in any capacity. There is no downfall to having unmatching rarities. So if you breed a common and an uncommon, they're using the 1. If you breed a rare and a very rare, they're using the 1. However, if you're breeding an uncommon main to an uncommon main, regardless of what main they are, so it could be a half to a silky or a rough to a silky, it doesn't matter. You get ×2 to the base pass rate. And if you're matching rarity for a rare, very rare, you get 2.5. And you're probably like, but why are you getting a higher bonus to the rarer ones? Because the numbers are smaller. And when the numbers are smaller, there's a lot less wiggle room actually for us to do things. So the very, very rare in this situation, you're actually getting a little bit more of a bump. And that also helps us bring it a little more in line with what the old numbers were. If we'd done them at the same rarity modifier, then all rare and very rare would have found itself more short of the old numbers than we would have wanted. All right, so that's the rarity modifier. There's still more. There's the attribute modifier. Yes, that's right. These attributes existed for more than just making families. They're actually used in this. The attribute modifier is determined by matching attributes in a breeding. All breedings with common mane use the no attribute modifier rather than the zero matching modifier. This is in your benefit. You will be happy for this in a minute. Matching attributes is the second part of the step-up rarity chance. So for a step-up rarity, you need to have matching rarities and matching modifiers.
Attributes.
Thank you. Attributes. Common X common counts as matching attributes for the step-up rarity chance because they are no attribute, no attribute. They match. They don't match with anything else, but they match with each other. And here's the attribute modifiers. So, for the 2 attribute matching, you get a 1.25 onto your base pass rate. For the matching, 1 match, you get 1. And if you have a 0 match, that means you get 0.5 onto it. You actually do take a penalty. And that's how we're replicating that effect of manes that were terrible matches for each other if you were breeding for manes, but you can still get a mane out of it. In no situation does the mane chance drop to 0 in this formula. There is no situation in which it goes to 0, but you do get a penalty to it when you do a 0 match. So 0 match would be breeding something like a less smooth, which would be a sphinx, to a more textured, which would be... No, barb is smooth.
Oh, that's right. Actually, that's a better match these days. More textured wire.
Wire. So a sphinx is a less smooth. A wire is a more textured. They would be a 0 match. They don't go together.
But you can still get them.
Mm-hmm. Did you just give me wire for more textured? Isn't that less textured?
No, that's in our more textured family.
Is it?
Yes.
Dang, okay. Okay, see?
Now you're making me second guess myself.
Oh, well, you're probably right, though. You're usually right. Okay.
Textured.
Yeah, you're right. And then no attribute is 1. And the reason that we're doing it this way rather than just saying that for common manes you have a 0 is we don't want to unduly punish breeding with gnat manes. So they get their own modifier of a 1. It's one of the few weird pieces. We tried to keep everything super standard, not making exceptions for common mane. But this way, you don't get punished, and we don't have to have a separate formula for doing gnat mane breedings, as we do for everything else. So those are the attribute modifiers. There's one more modifier. Only one. The step modifier. You're like, what does that mean? What's a step modifier? At least I know what a rarity, I know what an attribute is. What is a step modifier? Step modifier is determined by how far apart the target manes are in a breeding. And when we say target manes, what we mean by that is if I put a silky and a long in a breeding, the assumption is that I am breeding for a silky or a long. Because remember, combo manes are going away. So if you were putting in the old system a half and a Barbary together, we could also make the assumption that you were going for a razor mane, because that's the combo between them. With that kind of going away, we can assume that you are breeding for what you've put in. So in these cases, the target mane would be the silky and the long. And then the step modifier is how far apart they are. Those two, that's an uncommon to a rare, so it's 1 step. They're only 1 step of difference from each other. And then the mane, this will make sense in a moment. I was staring at a chart when I wrote that. There is a version of this where the mane is not present as part of the modifier, and they're used in the step up and step down formulas. So here's all the step modifiers. Main present, no step. That would mean if I am breeding
Short and short.
a short and a short together, the main is present and there is no step of there is no step of rarity between them. So it is a no step, they get a 1. And yes, we could have lived without having that, but again, the goal was one formula to rule them all. If we have these ones inside of these modifiers, then you don't need to remember that on a short, you don't include a step modifier. Or even on a short half, you don't include a step modifier. You just pull the 1 off the table, put it in the same formula you used for everything else, and there you get it. So the goal was to make that one formula that does everything for us. And then main present is the 1-step difference, 2-step, and 3-step. 3-step only happens on common, very rare. And we actually just didn't want those numbers to change at all. They were pretty clean where they were. So it's, again, another 1. It's the same as the no step. And then main not present, those are used for the step up and down rarity chances. You cannot step down to a very rare, so you're not going to see a main not present very rare because you can't step down to it. So main not present uncommon and main not present rare, those are for step down. And main not present higher rarity is for step up. And I do have slides that will break out those 2 special formulas. Although step down is very similar, it's actually the same formula as the normal one. And step up is using the same numbers, but it's a slightly different formula. It is way less complicated than it sounds when you get your eyes on it. Okay? So here's step modifiers, and of course, all of these will be public for you to see. And let's talk about bonuses right quick. When I talk about bonuses, I mean things like tribe bonus, faction bonus, IPAX Fortune 2 affects mains, stylist token, and Barghest. And all of them are unchanged. No bonus, and these bonuses will not affect step up or step down. That's why their formulas are slightly different, because they're not going to account for any bonuses in this. And here's the bonuses. I don't know if you guys knew what these were, but I decided I would pull them out and I would show them to you. Looking at it, it seems that uncommon, remember, common main is only natural, and it's just the remainder of what's left. So it's not common uncommon, it's just uncommon. This is the straight just percentage bonus we add. It's not a modifier where you're taking that base pass rate and multiplying it by something. This is just a straight adding 3%, adding 3%, adding 5% to there. And then, of course, Stylist is still going to work the way that it does, where you have one specific main you're adding 10% to. You're not adding it to every target main that you're working with. And for rare, very rare, those are the numbers. And before anybody's like, but Stylist has always been 10. No, friends, that's a myth. This is how it works. It's always worked this way. We never changed it. When you're using a Stylist in uncommon, it's 10. And we're using it on a rare, it's 5. Because when the numbers are smaller, you have less room to work with, and every number, up or down, has significant change. So you've always had slightly diminishing returns when using these things on rare or very rare. We haven't changed these in years. Okay? And then Barghest is the Stylist with the Barghest bonus applied to it. But those are what the current numbers are, and those are going to remain going forward. All right. Now, we're going to put it all together. Put a little legend down in the corner for you as well, so you know what all of the alphabet soup is. We're going to do a more smooth uncommon with a more smooth uncommon, and no bonuses applied to it. This is the formula. You take the base pass rate times the rarity modifier times the attribute modifier times the step modifier and add the bonuses. That's it. That's the entire formula. It's not that complicated. It just, when you see all the modifiers, it looks scarier until you see it in action. So this is what it is. Base pass rate is 20. The rarity modifier, they match, so it's 2. Both attributes match, so they also get the 1.5. There's no step between them, they get the 1. turns into a 50 plus 0, which is then a 50. So for a more smooth uncommon and a more smooth uncommon, you have a 50% chance at getting an uncommon. If these are two different more smooth uncommons, they take the 50% and they split it evenly among them.
So I think it's short and bison's out, and you breed a short and a bison, you still get the 50% shot, but it's just 25% short, 25% bison.
Correct. Exactly as Dunn just said. That's it. That's the formula. All those slides culminated into just that, which isn't too complicated for anybody to do. All right, what we're going to look at next is the step up rarity. I did say that that one was slightly different. So the way that step up rarity works is when you both the rarity and all attributes match in a breeding, then there's a chance at step up rarity. So in the same combination we just looked at, there's a chance that you could breed a more smooth rare mane. And the entire formula is we just take the base pass rate and we take the step modifier. That would have been the mane not present higher rarity. And we put them together. So that's the 6 times the 2.5. You have a 1.5% chance that you're going to walk away with the rare mane out of it. It's very small. If there are multiple rare manes in the family that step up, which is actually for, I think, rares, that's very possible. There was a lot of them that had 2. They're going to take that 1.5 and they're going to split it evenly among them. You don't get a 1.5 on each other. You just get the 1.5. And you know that they're going to be in the same family as the one you are. So we are of the belief that most people are going to be pretty okay with that because they're going to look similar-ish to the ones you are already breeding. And we have a little more on that on another slide later that I'll talk about. I know, I have a lot of things later, but there's so much here. We have to condense it into some sort of eatable. Yeah. Way of doing this. And then we have the step down rarity. All breedings may have a step down rarity chance regardless of matching. So that means even a 0 match on different rarities, that's fine. You still get a step down rarity chance. If there is somewhere to step down to, you will get the chance. And this only applies if the mane is not a target mane and there is a lower rarity to step down to. So we took the more smooth rare and more smooth rare, which means you would have an uncommon chance because there's an uncommon to step down to. So step down would be any mane of a lower rarity than the highest rarity mane you have that is not present in the breeding. So if you were breeding an uncommon and a very rare, you could get a rare. They also use the step down formula for a shot at getting that rare. So here we go. We would use the uncommons base pass rate. The rarity modifier gets 1 because it does not match the rarity that's in the breeding. It gets the 1.2 because the attributes match. And then it gets the step modifier of its not present 1 step difference. And therefore it gets 0.75. And inside of this, on top of your chance at getting a rare, more smooth rare, you also have an 18.5% chance to get a more smooth uncommon. If you were breeding between 2 mane families, all of the uncommons in both mane family would be possible. We are talking right now about having an item that allows you to focus your step up or step down chance a little bit more, either in the form of you pick one attribute and your step up, step down will definitely have that attribute, or you pick one to exclude. It's basically the same thing because there's only so many attributes, but we're talking about having that so you'll have a little control over that random chance. And all of step up, step downs come out of the nat mane chances. They don't make it any less likely for you to get the manes you were after. They don't take out of your target mane. They take out of the common nat mane chance.
Dire save chance.
It's similar to the dire save chance. Okay. And then we're going to show you the new formula with the common mane. Common manes do have a step-up rarity chance that is taken from the common mane chance. And natural x natural will no longer have a random Barbary chance. I'll pop that up and then I'll talk about the random Barbary chance. So we talked about this. It went back and forth a little bit, but the decision was made that the random Barbary chance was added, for lack of a better word, randomly when Barbary was thrown into the game.
Everyone's freaking out. You should tell them how much it actually is.
It is 0.1%. There were, was it 40?
Oh, let me go look at the list. It was not triple digits.
It wasn't in the triple digits. It was 40 to 60. There are 40 to 60 random Barbaries uploaded in the system.
Final results, 77.
Oh, it was 77? Excuse me. Is that without the semi-customs and all that?
That's without the semi-customs.
Okay. I was probably thinking of the with the semi-customs was where I got myself. So there are 77 random Barbaries uploaded in the system after 8 years. This is not a thing that people live and die on. It never has been. People do not breed Natmanes together for a random Barbary chance. You do not go breeding Barbaries out of Natmanes. You don't do it. Sorry. So the actual chance at the Barbary was 0.1% chance. And I'm sure it procced more than the mains that were uploaded, but they didn't get uploaded. Who killed Dunn?
Mizzy?
Okay, how did Mizzy kill Dunn?
You dare assume.
I do dare assume. So that we made that decision to take that random edge case out, so that we didn't have to code anything special for it, and in exchange we put the step up chance for more than just nat. Because now uncommons get it, rares get it as well. So more mains have the ability to step up a rarity. More breedings will have it in general. And nats will continue to have it, but they're going to have it differently. So they're going to have a 5% chance at an uncommon popping in their main. And people were like, but what if I get a half main and I was trying to breed a nat main to do this? That's why we're talking about, I think it's like Soulpool Pebble. Is the item that we are working out how you get it and exactly how to work, that'll allow you to focus that. So you can be like, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm going to put this Soulpool Pebble, and my Soulpool Pebble, I'm going to say I want the more attribute. So if I hit my step up chance, the main I get will have a more attribute on it. And that way you can cut out the other one. So we're working it out. It will exist. The exact way that you get it and the exact effect of it, we're still deciding that, and we will have it ready to go with the launch of this system. So don't panic about that. We are putting a way for you to put some agency back in there. But I mean, if you were breeding a nat main, trying to prepare one to breed for sphinxes and halves, and you hit a random Barbary, it was the same thing. Arguments in every circle. Alright, and then I'll look at the actual chart we have on this page. So, actual chart on this page, you can see these are the new numbers that are going forward. They are relatively close to what is already there. A couple mains, which I have a chart, and we'll look at the chart in a moment. A couple mains are gaining. Actually, I don't think anyone's really losing except Wire.
And that's because I messed up Wire.
And that's because you messed up Wire pretty hard, yeah.
Not the Wire pass rates, but the rest of it.
Yeah. So, and a couple other mains. You'll see what I'm talking about. The chart will explain it better visually than I can with words, and then I will attempt my words while you're staring at the visual. Okay, so old numbers versus new numbers. There are changes to every level of rarity in both the positive and the negative for past chances. There's places where you gain, there's places where you lose. It is a rebalance. Finding every little number and showing it to everyone would mean going through the old numbers and showing them to you, and those are a pain. We don't want to dig them out. We don't want to put them up. They're a mess all over the place, and so looking at them isn't even really going to help you. So the best way to show you this is by using charts. So I'll be tabbing out to them, but I did put the links on here for everybody later. So let me go ahead and tab out. And then I'm going to look at this one. This is our Nat X main comparison chart. So here at the bottom, this is the new one. So anything that's got this dark gray, this is the new numbers. And this light gray is the old numbers. So you can see here on the old numbers, you had a 99.9% chance at getting a Nat main. And then this, I think it's so small I can't even click on it. I can't even hover over it.
You can't hover it.
Barbary chance up there. And now you have a 95% chance at getting a Nat main. So odds are more in your favor of not getting a Nat main than they were before. When we move over here to the common, it's a 70-30.
He is fine. He's just bouncing on the bed.
Okay. And then when we look at like Nat half, you'll see that it was actually 70-30 before, or 75-25. And I think this is, what was that, a short chance?
Yes.
Yeah, they have a random short chance in there. Now you're losing that ability that when you're breeding Nats to mains of hitting other random mains in the uncommon land. But in general, everything's moving to 30%. So you technically have a better shot at a half, short, rough, and silky than you did before. You just don't have this uncommon chance. And these are actual numbers. So this is like a Nat half, Nat short, Nat rough, Nat silky. These are the actual numbers from the breeding roller when you're breeding those. So you'll see like you've lost this. I think this is a half main chance.
Yep.
Yeah, so I don't know if someone could.
On rough, it's a short.
And on rough, it's a short main chance.
See, we copied short, messed it up.
Right? Not realizing that for some reason, half main was getting a 25% extra chance when you bred it with a short. Why? I don't know. But everything in general, this is going to a 30, and these were all previously a 25. When we pop over here to rare, the target rare is coming out at 7.5 when all is said and done. That means that long mane gained a bonus, razor gained a bonus, and Sphinx lost 0.5%. Oh no!
And Curly.
Oh yeah, and Curly over here is getting a huge boost because apparently it was very rare. But when you bred a Curly with a Curly, its numbers matched the rares. No idea why. So Curly's getting a boost in that respect. And there will be a 15% chance at stepping down to an uncommon. So that's a Nat gain for long mane. For everyone else, I think it is a little less than what it previously had. So there is some lossage there.
So like on the Nat Sphinx, that's 20% half, 20% short.
Oh yeah, that 40% is 20% half, 20% short. Now you just have a 15 and you would hit whatever family you're dealing with. I think it's a Sphinx, so it would be a short. So yeah, as I said, there's some lossage here, but in general, it's a gain. And then if we look at this one, you'll see there's now the step down chance to rare. That did not exist in any capacity previously. And the final number is 2.5. So Barbary's getting 0.25, Yeti's gaining 0.25, Wire's losing 0.75. So as you can see, like the gain is nice, and the loss is a little worse. And I think Yeti, what was the Yeti? What could that pop? Was that a Barbary? My money's on Barbary.
Barbary.
Of course, Yeti could pop a Barbary. So you're losing that. That's not going to pop. And then Wire had the concept of getting an uncommon, but none of these others had the concept of getting uncommon. So that's
failure.
Yeah, that was where Dunn was talking about her failures. Of like, she did this and then realized that none of the others had this. So in general, when you're breeding a Nat to a very rare, your chance at getting a main, any main, is up significantly. Of getting the target main, not specifically. It's very minor in either direction. And of course, now you've got that chance at the rare main as well. And the step down serves like a soul pool goes. That's going to affect every step down chance. So you can't use like, oh, but I would want this on this or this on that. Actually, when you're breeding with a Nat, you're only dealing with one family anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a Nat, you're only breeding with one family. So this would be the same family and the same family as whatever your VR is. So this is the comparison of the old versus the new numbers. You can get your eyes on it. This chart will be public for you to see it as well. These numbers are accurate. It's fine that you have them. Nobody's going to panic about it. They're all right here. We're just not pulling every possible combination out of the system for you to see. All right, and then I think I think my next one is questions. Okay, yes, it
Do
is.
you want to show them the main X main?
I have that for somewhere else
Okay.
after I show them the mains.
All right.
So here, it's questions. We will accept your outrage at this point in time, though I suspect I'll get more outrage about the random Barbary chance than I will the actual numbers. And I can go back to the chart as people need that as well.
Yep. All right. So we got some questions.
Okay.
Will the formulas / rates for mutations also be public along with the new main stuff? That's not on my list because that would involve another Tokopedia page. So not currently on the list.
Yeah, it's not currently listed. I'm not saying it'll never be public. I'm just saying we're making no plans to make it public by January.
Yeah. Mains is eating up our month. And we
Yeah.
have like 4 other projects too.
Exactly. So this is all about mains. Main numbers and build numbers are public. Marking I think marking is actually
Mark's in
public.
public.
Mutations and other things of that nature, we may get to it by next year. We may not. It's not on our to-do list, but we're not hiding it secretly on purpose.
Adding on to that, will Kelpie rates be public / will it have any changes with the new numbers?
Dun's trying to convince me to remove uncommon from Kelpie. We're back and forth on this. I'm against it. She's for it.
Currently, Kelpie operates outside of this formula, so it would be like a second step up chance anyway.
Yeah. Kelpie rolls independent of this formula. Kelpie, you breed, Kelpie rolls, and if you succeed the Kelpie chance, then you get the main, and it ignores the rest of this formula. That's how it currently works, rather than taking away from, like, your uncommon chance. Or, excuse me, your common chance.
Yeah.
So it probably is going to continue to do that, but if and when we make changes, because Secret does our breeding roller for us. It's glorious. I love it, and also means I don't have to do it, so, like, double win. When she gets there, whatever turns out to be the cleanest and easiest for her to implement without having to make lots and lots of code to account for random situations will be the winner. And we'll be happy to tell you what that is as soon as we know what it is. And we're talking about Kelpie maybe having uncommons removed because common is now getting a normal, like a natural for everybody chance at getting an uncommon. But I'm still not sold on it.
Yeah. That's a go talk it out for a couple days and brainstorms thing.
Exactly. Got to figure out all of the possible repercussions of making that change. Sorry, guys. I know I'm shifting right now.
Will this math only be on the Tokotas page for the mains, or would it be possible to have this visible on the breeding roller? It'll definitely be on the Tokopedia page. I don't think we can put it on the breeding roller because the breeding roller's already very busy, but there's...
It'll probably be in the debug log the same way that it currently is, so if people know how to look at that, and we don't we don't hide how to do that, so... No, I don't think we're going to be incorporating showing you your odds in there. And part of that falls back into the first point I made on the public breeding numbers. If it's there, it will encourage people to be like, but I should have gotten. And I'm like, no, we're not trying to encourage people to freak out that they didn't hit the number.
Mm-hmm. A calculator might be possible down the line on a separate page, but that's just a coding capacity because we have a lot of coding things right now.
Exactly. But I don't think we're going to integrate it into the actual roller. Nice suggestion, though. Did think about that for a minute there.
I mean, like a debug mode, like the activity roller, but that could be intense.
It could be intense.
It could be intense resources-wise. I don't know. That's a secret.
It's a secret question. Maybe a secondary calculator would be better, though.
All right. I don't see anybody else typing, but if you have questions, get them in.
After this, we're going to move on to the mains. So when you have a main and you're breeding with a main, what does that look like? Not just with nat main. Obviously, when you look at some of the modifiers, we made some special account for common main or nat main, which we're much more streamlined in main. There's less ones. I think the only one in there is the matching.
I think
It's
so.
the one match modifier. One attribute match modifier. No typing?
No typing, so I think we're good.
Okay, well, that had significantly less questions than I was expecting, but here we go. All right. Modifier madness and numerous numbers. The new formula for uncommon main. This is what it looks like. We put the nat X uncommon at the bottoms just so you can see a comparison of when you were breeding a nat main with an uncommon main. We typed uncommon so many times that it doesn't look like a word anymore.
You stopped talking. It's like, oh no, did I typo it?
No, that just doesn't look like a word anymore. And then the 2 match, 1 match, 0 match, that's attribute modifier match. We're talking about attribute modifier match there. So here are the numbers. I'll give everyone a quick chance to look at them. I'll point out the uncommon 2 match. That's that rare step up chance we were talking about. In this situation, the family matches and the rarity matches, so the uncommon step up would be in the same family. Okay. And obviously these charts are going to be available, so don't freak out that you need to memorize it. The chart's going to be visible. Done's almost already done with the page that has everything. Uncommon 2, so uncommon times rare. And here's the numbers across the board on those for what they look like. I'll give everyone a minute to look at them once again. You will notice that when you're in a 0 match, sometimes you're in a slightly worse situation than when you were breeding with a nat main.
But that is how it is now, too.
That is also how it stands right now for many of those. And we have 2 charts for us to look at down the way that'll have a little more guidance for you so you can understand how the numbers are changing and being affected. And then uncommon 3 is uncommon and very rare. I'll point out this rare chance in here. So the rare chance doesn't have the rarity modifier because it doesn't match the rarity, but it does have the 2 match attribute modifier, so it's a little higher than the actual base chance, or it's a little higher than like the 1 match or this. So you get a little bit of a bonus there, and that'll continue on down the line here. And again, the 0 match is a little worse than that uncommon chance. But you do have a shot at getting the very rare. You do have a shot at getting the rare. There is no situation in which you don't have a shot at getting the main. You just have a very small shot. And in most of these combinations that we were talking about where they wouldn't match very well, where you're breeding like an uncommon and a very rare, you had a 1% shot or a 2% shot. So these are, it was usually, I want to say, between like a 1 and 3% chance. So these really are close to what those were. We'll move on to the rares. So this is the rare table. And again, it holds that 0 match is a little less than that nat X rare. And the step up chance is again smaller because it...
Go ahead.
Oh, that step up chance is again smaller than when it was rare because it's using the 25% of the base rarity chance.
But it is 5 times more likely than a random barb.
Yeah, it is still 5 times more likely than a random barb. Okay. I'm pretty sure these numbers are coming up correctly across the board here, so... And...
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. My brain just went, the uncommon rare chance is the same across the board on this one? Apparently it is.
Interesting.
Yep, I'll double check the tables just to be sure.
Woo math.
Woo math. And then here's the chances for the rare, very rare. These numbers again are pretty in line with what it used to be. Most stuff is actually pretty close.
There's like give a percent here, gain a percent there, back and forth.
Yeah, and it's usually not too much. There's a few situations where it's more than 5%, but those all include a half main.
Oh, half mains. We love you.
And then finally, the very rare table. And you can see that across the board. Given how as I said, the smaller the numbers get, the less wiggle you have between each number. You'll see this is one of the only situations where the very rare zero match is technically better for the very rare main than the not very rare. Just there's not a lot of give in those numbers, but you're still more likely to walk away with a main of any capacity from the not very rare than you are. Sorry, let me say this correctly. If the very rare is the most important thing, the very rare is better. If getting a main is more important, any main, the not very rare is technically better than a zero match very rare. Yeah, as I said, modifier madness and numerous numbers. Numbers.
So much math.
All right, let's look at some of these in action. So, short X short, that is a 2-match, same rarity. And we're doing these with no bonuses right now. This first channel is no bonuses. So, your shot is, you're going to get a 50% chance, a 50.5% chance at a short main. You're going to get a 1.5 chance at a Sphinx. And then the Nat takes the remaining 48.5% chance. That's exactly what it looks like. So an uncommon less smooth and an uncommon less smooth, those are your odds. Here's what the bonus is on it. And the bonuses we put on are tribe, faction, and IFO. So your short chance goes up to a 61. As you can see, Sphinx doesn't move because it's not affected by those bonuses. And then Nat main just takes the rest of the numbers down. So that's short. And this one is an uncommon and rare 2-match. So here's where the numbers would change on you. So for the Sphinx, you get that 37.5. Or excuse me, the short gets that 37.5. The Sphinx gets the 11.25. Because it's not a random step-up chance, it's affected by all bonuses as well. And then the Nat takes what's left. The version of it with bonuses. In this breeding, if you have all the bonuses in, you can get that Sphinx up to a 22.5. I remember those bonuses are all, they're straight percentage adds. And for a rare, the tribe bonus is what? For a rare, 1%?
Yes, I'm going back to that slide that we have it on. Yes, 1, 1, and 2.
So how has Sphinx got a plus 10 on it? We got some copy-paste shenanigans going on. Did you have Stylist and Bargiston as well?
No. Redoing it. 1 second.
All right.
Okay, we're looking at the Sphinx X Sphinx.
Mm-hmm. No, we're looking at short X Sphinx.
Short X Sphinx. Okay, so tribe bonus, yes. Faction bonus, yes. IFO, yes. And this is UCXR2 matching.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what's showing in the sheet.
I need to go check that formula. I think my formula is more incorrect than this because if what you just told me was a 5% bonus, it shouldn't have added 10%. It's doubling that bonus for some reason.
Then we're probably going to have the rest of the problem on all the rest of the slides.
Okay. Please disregard the bonuses one on this. There seems to be an issue in the rare formula for including the bonuses. It doubled them for some crazy reason. Bonuses don't get doubled. They're just a straight percent add. It happens. We run through these at the speed of light. All right. So short razor is the 1-match version of this. And as you can see here, the short's going to go to the 30. The razor's going to be at the 9%. Natural takes the rest. Not going to worry myself about bonuses because I'm seeing the exact same problem there.
I think it added it as an uncommon, so it's not registering the rarity. Damn it.
It's not registering the rarity. I think it's adding the uncommon bonuses, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, that's fine. It'll get fixed. I know exactly what's wrong with it. I can see it in my head right now. I know what's wrong with the formula on that. All right, we'll publish
Short razor. I'm just going to send the other bonus tables to the back.
Yep.
So, give me 1 second.
So what I'll do here for everybody is we'll fix the bonus numbers on the PowerPoint before we publish the PowerPoint. So right now, don't look at them, don't worry about them. The rare, very rare is taking the uncommon bonuses because we didn't fix something in a formula when we copied it over. It's not a huge deal, but once we post the published version of this for people to grab, it'll have the right numbers on it. So.
Oh, cause. This is why automating the formula is better than person manually picking odds. Computer won't mess up math. The computer messed up the math.
No, the computer didn't mess up the math. We copy-pasted a formula over and didn't update the field. We messed up the formula.
Nope, I'm blaming the computer.
It's not the computer. It was us. We did it. Us messing with the formula did it.
Damn it.
Cause is correct. That is why you let the computer do it every single time. All right. And then here, we want to show you one that was between main families that would have, and between different, these are same rarity, different main families. So here's a Sphinx Razor. As you can see, the Razor and the Sphinx split the odds, and the half and the short split the step down odds. And then you 70% chance of getting a natural. I'm going to click on this. Don't look at the bonuses. The bonuses are still probably wrong. Actually, these ones look right. No, I think they're still too high.
Yes, maybe.
Yes.
Yes, they're too high. They're using the uncommon bonus.
They're using the uncommon bonus. I know exactly how we did it, okay? I know exactly how we
We'll
did
fix
it.
it.
So there's Sphinx Razor, and then I think, yes, Dunn also did as a Sphinx. So you could see what that looked like. So here, that's your chance at a Sphinx, your chance at a short, and then that little chance to step up to a wire, because that's everything in the same less smooth family. And don't look at the bonuses.
The most important breeding combo ever, because we all have one of these pairs.
Ah, a zero match. Here's what...
Sorry, I'm ahead of myself.
She's ahead of herself. So here's what it looks like for a zero match. So these are uncommon zero matches. A short and a rough don't match anymore. So 10% chance at both. That's what you get when you put it in. Actually, these bonuses are safe. You can look at these bonuses. They're fine. Because we're using the uncommon bonuses everywhere. So the first table and this table are fine.
Woo!
But that's, if you had all the bonuses in play, that's what you get to. It's not like the worst odds in the world. It's just if you're desperate to get a short main, you're better off breeding it with a short main. And then... Okay, and then Dunn has done the long Barbary for us because she says everybody has one of these pairs, the long and barb they put together. And there's your odds for long and barb. They are now in the same family. And the target mains here would be the long and the Barbary, and then that Silky is that step down chance. And of course, it's taken from the Nat main, not from either of them. And you can't trust the bonuses, just ignore those bonuses completely. All right. And now I'm going to show you some charts, and these charts are the main, X-main, you know what? I'll just show you. You'll understand when you see it. Okay, here it is. So this is the new, the old, so here's like the new Nat versus the old Nat. We've seen that. But here's the new uncommon, with a 2 match on it versus the old half, the old short, the old rough, and the old silky. Yeah, I know. You okay there? You dying? Yeah, she's dying. So here's what it is. Technically, most of these numbers remain about the same. The silky, you got a 50%. The short, the rough, you got a 50%. And you're maintaining a 50% if you're doing a 2 match. A 2 match is the equivalent to breeding a short and a short together. And then, of course, you have your 1.5 step up chance. So you technically have slightly better odds. On the half main, for whatever reason, half mains had a 70% pass rate. They're losing 20% to bring it in line with everything else. So they're taking a loss, and everything else is about the same for the uncommon. When we roll over here to the rares, and you'll see we have there Curly was very rare, but we've got it in the rare color right now because we're accounting it like that. When you bred Curlies together, you had the same odds as Sphinx, the Razor, and Long. It was rare. It didn't have the same odds as these guys over here. Although actually, I think the Yeti and the Wire had, well, Wire was the 15, which was based on the wet Yeti. The Yeti was the rarest of, or it was crazy. You can see there's some loss over here in very rare. We admit to loss in very rare. We've taken Curly down to rare. It also fit our plans of filling in spots in main families. There's many reasons we did it. But here, across the board, it's actually a bit of a net gain. So if you have two matching very rares, you're actually at an 18.75% chance, which is a little bit better than you had. And then, of course, there's the uncommon chance that's in play, which Longs have never had a step down to anything, but Razors and Sphinxes did, and Curlies are gaining one as well. So across the board, it's kind of like a net gain there when you've gotten perfectly optimized breeding. And you are feeling a little more of the loss over here in the very rare because you've got that 7.03% chance. You are gaining this chance to step down to a rare, and you're gaining this chance to step down to an uncommon, which most of these didn't have. So overall, your shot at any main is better than it was prior, but your shot at the target main is going down a bit to bring it into standardization with everything else that we're doing. So this is where you're going to feel it right here, but we will be having those step down main chances, which will now be available to everybody. So this is it with just the perfect two matches. This is the most optimized breeding for breeding the long mane or the razor or the silky, where it's not sharing its numbers with anybody or anything of that nature. But I also have this one that has the one match. So you can read the numbers here on rare. 2 match, 1 match, 0 match, and then it's comparing it to the old longs, old razor, old sphinx, and old curly.
The dark gray's off on this one.
Yeah, the dark gray's off on this one. Don't look at the dark gray. It was crazy the way that those worked, and we never got around to fixing it. But here's what it looks like. So if you're doing a 1 match, the 1 match is actually pretty in line with what the old numbers were. Here in the rare category. And at the 0 match, yeah, you're taking a negative to it. And it's the very rare, you're still feeling it. It's still a little lower than they used to be. Like, we admit to that. That is where you're doing some give. Or, excuse me. That's where we took a little take. Well, there's a lot of give across the place here. Here is where the take happened. And then you can see it on the uncommons as well. If you're breeding uncommons that don't work well together, you have a significantly lower chance than you used to have. But this right here, this 0 match, this is not breeding a silky and a silky together. This would have been like breeding as like a silky and a half or something together.
Yeah.
Yeah, silky and a half together. And those numbers would have been a little more in line with these. But we couldn't make a chart that had every combination on it. Like, this chart alone is difficult to read. These are the equivalent of this, the 2 match. And then this is the 1 match and the 0 match, just so you can kind of see how they apply. 1 match and 0 match are the equivalent of breeding other mains of the same rarity together. Rather than breeding a short and a short, it's breeding a short and a half, a short and a silky, a short and a rough. Alright, so here's the charts. You can get an idea of what it is. And again, these numbers are real and accurate out of the breeding roller. And of course, from there, got questions? I know, it's a lot of numbers. It was a lot of numbers. I didn't have a better way to show them to you without just throwing numbers at you for you to see it. I'm sorry the bonuses were messed up. That does kind of make it a little trickier to look at it, but we'll have those resolved for you soon.
Before we publish the thing.
Before we publish it. So, feelings? Thoughts? Now's your moment. Questions? Like you've seen The entirety of every possible combination that you've got and what their actual numbers are.
And now that you guys have seen it, yeah, I made wire way too high.
You made wire insanely high.
And yet they weren't passing. I just think nobody was breeding them.
No one had them.
Yeah.
That was only when you had a wire, and getting two wires to breed was difficult.
Wire now was pretty wild.
Yes, it was, but you still had to have a wire to breed that with.
That is true.
We would have noticed them in 2 years when people had wires to breed.
Okay, people are typing. Woo!
All right. Is this about the time that I should put the raffle together too? Or should I do that after my miscellaneous section?
Do it after your miscellaneous section when you're doing... Because you got your miscellaneous section, then you got another question section with some more stuff, and then...
When I kick to that... Okay, when we hit that questions tab, the next questions tab, I will...
Determine what it is.
I will put the raffle in place. How are we doing on time, too? Because I feel like this moved a lot faster than it did in the dry run.
It's 3.
Whoa. Where did the time go?
I don't know, but we've been at this an hour and a half. Whew. All right, questions. You ready?
Yep.
Will there be more boosts to help with passing the VR mains, especially for those lovely Tokos who are limited slots, Dyers, Tokotas, Taquinos? I don't think we're adding any additional boosts at this time. We're gonna we'll touch on this, but we're gonna see how this goes.
We have no plans on adding any additional bonuses to this at this point in time. Additionally, no, we don't have any plans to do that at this point in time. But this system's going into beta. As Don said, we'll touch on that in a future tab. But no, as of right now, we're not going to add more ways to get main pass chances up.
We need to see how it works now.
Yeah, we need to know how it works.
All right, want to make sure I got this right. It's matching mains that do the step-up chance. It's matching rarity and matching attributes together.
Exactly. So if they're in the same box on the families table, any combination of the things in the same box get the step-up chance.
All right, more people typing.
Oh, we got more people typing. See, this is why I feel like I should throw the raffle together, because now they're going to have the most amount of questions.
Will they? Probably, I guess. Where's our raffle channel?
All right. So, for the raffle, we're going to keep this light and fluffy. I have a feedback form for the rest of that. But we're just going to go ahead and say in the raffle channel, you have between now and when we get to the next Got Questions slide to put your favorite main. Put your favorite main. That's all it is. We'll get to your feedback on things. We will have a proper feedback channel to get all of that.
Can they include future mains?
I don't see why they can't include future mains. They now know all the names of them.
That's
Some
true.
of them may know what they even look like. Mine is Highland.
More tangential, but in response to main adjustments, are Taquinos Tokaras going to get additional slot max traits like EDB?
Not right now. They haven't been out long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are on...
Taquinos are just having their anniversary in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, Taquinos are just coming up on a year old. Tokaras aren't a year old. That'll probably be next December before we even have that conversation about adding them. Maybe sometime before then, but after Tokaras are a year old. At this point in time, unlike Dyers, they didn't have the issues of having super restrictive slots that made it impossible to breed them like Dyers and Tokotas did, necessitating a trait. Their slots are more free. Their numbers are far more forgiving. They're not as in dire need of it.
Also, not tiny gene pools.
No, they don't have tiny gene pools either. Their gene pools are much more wide and diverse.
All right, got one more person typing, I think.
Okay.
It's quieted down. Do you think he finally went to a nap?
I'm super doubtful of that. Although it's 3 o'clock, so probably because he's supposed to be up in 30 minutes. So of course he's gone to take his nap finally. My Tav. He'll look back on these recordings and be like, my mother sat and shit-talked me the entire time she was on these podcasts. And I'm like, not the entire time.
Half the time it was Caesar.
Half the time it was Caesar. Still typing?
Nope, stop typing. Maybe it hasn't come through. Nope, still typing.
Still typing. Okay.
What's your favorite main, Jill?
Highland. I just said that.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. Very clear about it. My favorite main is Highland. I can't wait for it, but it's just nowhere near the top of the order of the list.
Okay, we're all good.
Okay, they changed their mind?
Question was similar to one we had already answered.
Okay. Again, that is a lot less questions than I expected. I was really expecting to be overwhelmed by like 50, 60 questions.
Question for you, actually, before we continue on. Do we want to use the podcast feedback channel, or do you want me to go make a feedback forum post?
Oh, yeah, I want a feedback forum post so that everybody can get to it.
Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to put things in podcast feedback, but it would be really nice if you could also put it in the forum. We're trying to use those forums as a way to keep things like together and not just scrolling for where a conversation started and stopped.
Yeah. Doing it in the admin server to great effect.
Yeah, we're trying it in the admin server to great effect, and now we're trying it here too. Alrighty. Well, seeing as there are somehow no more questions... Yet. Yeah, there'll be more questions when people start really playing with it. All the miscellaneous slides that I didn't know where else to put them. Let's talk about the half main in the room. Anyone paying attention will have noticed that half main has come up a couple different times in reference to, well, sphinxes and half mains are not in the same family with the new attributes assigned to them. That's right. Half mains don't directly lead to sphinxes. Oh, did Cray?
No, it's Locke. What do you want with my horses?
Half mains directly lead to razors, and short mains are directly leading to sphinxes now. There's a couple reasons. One, half and razor were already linked in a breeding chain because of the combo main stuff. They already had direct relation to each other. Whether you like it or not, half and sphinx were not linked in a breeding chain. They were not a direct relation leading to each other.
But Jill, I distinctly have this vivid hallucination
You
that I can't prove.
distinctly have a vivid hallucination that the numbers don't support, because a short main was just as likely to get you a sphinx as a half main was. They did not have a special relationship, although I do understand that this is very difficult for a lot of people to hear. We've been over it. I do know. I do. Is it still going?
Well, you got Daff and you got Cray and Locke all,
Like, but that's not true. But it is true, guys. Breeding numbers. Half mains had an insanely high pass rate since the beginning of Tokotas. Nobody knows why. Because as soon as short main was added, short main always had smaller numbers, even though they were the same rarity. And we do have evidence to back that up, because in the old breeding roller, and actually in the new one, we moved it over, we did it slightly different, but the concept was still there. In the old breeding roller, they had a concept of common mains, and nat, short, and half were all common mains. They were meant to be the same rarity. So they all got this like common main modifier all over the place, which we're not, obviously not using that in the same way anymore. But half mains just had an insanely high pass rate, and they were passable off of so many random things, like, oh, I'm breeding a nat and a rough main together, and for some reason I'm getting a half main chance. I'm breeding a rough main and a rough main together, and for some reason I'm getting a half main chance. Like, they were just all over the place. They had insanely high pass rates. Nobody really knows why. And those ridiculous pass rates were just issues all over the place while I was trying to standardize. So they took the biggest loss. Half main took the biggest loss across the board in what was happening. The very rares came in second to them. Oop, no. And so that was what happened with the half main. It is staying with Razor because the numbers were already there for it. And we gave short to Sphinx. By pure random happenstance, though, if you go look at the two glow-ups that half and short got, not planned, swear to you, it was not planned. If you go look at the glow-ups, the half mane does visually fall more in line with the razor these days, and the short does visually fall more in line with the Sphynx these days. Pure happenstance, because I didn't know we were doing that until November. I knew at the end of November that they were going to end up being split up. And let's talk about combo manes. And some people are saying, what the heck is a combo mane? Combo manes is the name we were using for manes that could appear in breeding based on unrelated manes in the breeding. Razor is the biggest example that people will know. You breed a half and a barb together, you get a razor. Wire, I think technically was one.
Silky was one.
Silky was one, but when we moved it, it stopped being one. Because Silky was one you could get between long and short. And we moved it down to uncommon and kind of removed it from that chain earlier this year. Wire was curly and rough. Could pop a wire, so technically it was a combination of those two. Yeah, and then Silky we moved. And there was another...
Yeti was the other one.
Yep, was previously one, but was challenged. And then Yeti is debatably one, because there were so many combinations that could pop you a Yeti.
Yetis are everywhere.
Yetis were just everywhere hiding, okay? It's just how it was. But we're removing that idea that you take these two manes together, you breed them, and you can get a combo mane between them. What we did is we removed all of that, and we're replacing it with the step up and step down chances. So the step up and step down, which multiple breedings can get, it's all based on family now more than specific manes that you're putting together. So combo manes, as we currently know them, are gone. And step up, step chance is in its place. And of course, step up, step down chances always come from the common mane chance, similar to the dire save chance. So it's, you've already missed your target mane and you just hit another box of manes. If we didn't have them and you missed your target mane, you would get a nat mane. That's how it would work. Alright, so that's what happened to combo manes. They're gone. We're not following that that plan for the future because the system became unwieldy trying to do it. Is there any good news? Yes! Main variants! Hey! I think I talked about these before. It's happening. That's right. I talked Daff into it happening. She agreed that this year they could happen. She made me promise that you wouldn't get any new mains till 2023. I had to stop bringing out mains, but I have a main variant. Main variants take two different mains and visually combine them. They are similar to physical traits. One main is the base main, and the other main is the modifier main. The royal half main has half as the base main and curly as the modifier. The pup needs to inherit the base main for a chance at the main variant. And you see a lovely picture of our finalized lines for Royal Halfie over here. Additionally, they would use the physical traits off of, I think it's the curly.
Yeah, they're all fit for the curly physical traits.
Okay, so they use the physical traits off of the curly, and we fit them to do that. The goal of these is we're not making full new mains. We're making combinations of the two that don't require us to make new physical traits in any way, and the line art could almost be treated like a physical trait. So, Royal Halfies! They're existing. I'm pretty sure we're still calling them Royal Half Mains. I don't think they're getting a different name.
No, this is what they are on everything.
And main variants may appear randomly in breedings when the base and main modifier are present. So for Royal Halfie, you would, if the parents are a curly and a half main, and the pups are half main pups, there's a chance that it's randomly going to pop the Royal Halfie variant on there. For the Royal Half Main Tokotas may also pass their main variant to their half main children. In a breeding, a Royal Half Main is a half main. We treat it as a half main in all the numbers. The variant is a separate thing. The variant has its own pass chance. And variants may be applied using the soul mirror purchased at the soul pool. So here's the pass odds for them. We're just deciding we're going to make it standard. Every main variant will have the same odds for pass. And this is basically how they'll work. So if you have a curly half main breeding and you get a half main out of it, 15% chance that you're just going to pop the Royal Halfie variant. If you have one royal half parent and you have a half main child, 25% chance it'll pass. And if both parents are and you have a half main child, 50% chance it'll pass. These are going to work just like physical traits. And that includes, you can just apply them. So if you have a half main, you can just apply the variant onto it with a soul mirror, purchasable for an elemental heart in the soul pool. Yes, these are going on soul pool because they are bigger, crazier things than the physical traits themselves. How they're going to show up exactly on the breeding line, we're still a little back and forth. We don't know if they're going to get their own like section at the bottom that says like variants and then they're listed there, or if they're going to sit up where the main is or something like that. We're still working that out. When we get to doing the update and we're outputting them, we'll make a decision at that point in time. But you will know that you have one. And just like a physical trait, it can be carried. So if you breed a royal halfie and you don't want to use the variant, put it as carried, design on the half main line. When you put it in DC, as long as it says carried, we'll put it up, and then pops that come off of that can be bred as it, but you don't have to visually show it, just like a physical trait. Just because you bred tall ears doesn't mean you have to put tall ears on the token. So, main variants, yay! All right, and with that, go ahead and close the raffle. And I will take questions on those. I've got another. I do have one more section. So I'll go ahead and take questions.
Actually, did you want me to move this question slide to after?
I thought it was after, but apparently I didn't do that.
Well, back up. I'll move this slide. You can go through your FAQ. I guess I'll reopen the raffle.
I guess. No harm. All right. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. The power of having two computers. Okay. FAQs. Is our entirely new system more random? Yes, it is. With the step up and the step down, it is more random. But that's not a bad thing, and we've got the idea of the soul pebble to handle that. Could you make an argument for a different family for main? Yes, but we had to make choices, so we did. And we've spread them out as evenly as we could. Why are there only 2 attributes? Because 2 is simple enough and covered most mains. We could have done 50, but then it would have been really, really complicated for no good reason. The families aren't filled out. There's empty spots in this plan because we don't have a less smooth or is it less textured? Mm-hmm. Or a less textured very rare. We know. Wait for the spoilers.
There's a lot of waiting in this podcast.
Yeah.
Should have just played wait for it at the start of this.
I should have just played wait for it at the start of this. It's delayed gratification, okay? All the shiny new things. Soul Mirror will be coming out with this system. Allows you to add it via... that's correct. It does work just like physical traits. If you have a half main that's already uploaded, you can apply a Soul Mirror to it through import updates and turn it into a Royal Halfie. Have fun. Awesome. Go do it. Shows hair clip. This is a consumable that we'll be creating to increase the main variant pass rates. We are back and forth right now on if you can do it for the random chance or not. But we'll have a decision made. It'll be on the item, and it will be live with the main variants in January as well. Yes, January for the main variant. Soul Pool Pebble. This is the item we're talking about. It's that lovely little pebble right there. No, that shows hair clip, by the way. So shows hair clip and the Soul Pool Pebble. That's what we're going to use to focus that step up and step down chance. It will be crafted, we believe, at this point in time. I'm thinking rocks and Soul Pool water.
Probably make a couple at a time.
Yeah, probably make a couple at a time. The Royal Half Main variant will be out in January. And more.
That's a lie. I thought you were supposed to tell them.
What was I supposed to tell them? Oh, that is a lie. That is a lie. Okay. Actually a lie. The Royal Half Main variant is going to be out in Advent.
Yeah, it'll be out in 11 days if you guys get your cards in.
Yes, if you guys get your snowfall cards in, it'll pop and be added to Advent.
Woo.
Get your cards in. Proceeding forward. A feedback thread will be set up in the feedback forum on Discord. Please post your thoughts and ask questions. As always, regardless of how you feel about it, I ask that you be respectful. A lot of people put time and effort into all aspects of this. Some people made art to make this system happen. Some people made lines to make this system happen. Some people sat and crafted mathematical formulas. And some people put up with me while I did it. So, just please be respectful of the time and effort people have put in, even if you don't like the actual numbers that came out. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, but I don't want you to scream them in my face. Okay? Very welcome, even if you don't agree, but please be respectful. After reviewing the feedback, we will make any adjustments that we need to make, we'll finalize the test roller, and we'll make it public. Just like with builds, we want to take your feedback, we want to read it, and we want to determine if we need to make a change or not. Starting in January 2023, we will launch a 2-month beta of the new system. At the end of 2 months, we will evaluate the impact that is having and adjust as needed. So if we determine that the very rare numbers are too low, then we will make the adjustment as we need to. If we determine that the rare numbers are too high, we'll make the adjustment and we'll bring it down. This could mean in either direction, but we're going to do 2 solid months, and whatever you breed in those 2 months, that it won't be up in question. It's not like we're going to be like, okay, that didn't work, everyone give us back your very rares. That's not how that'll work. It'll just been, that's what it was for 2 months. Like last year, the breeding team has agreed to run threads for the old odds in January and February. So if you are like, but I had this plan for January and these new numbers kind of mess around with that plan, for January and February, you may use the old threads. Go ahead. They've agreed to run both just like they did last year for the builds. However, just like last year for the builds, the new main variants and mains will not be available in these threads. So anything new, like the save chance down or anything like that, will not be in those threads. So if you're trying to breed for a Royal Haffy, new threads.
If you're trying to get a wire with a rough and a curly, old threads.
Old threads. All right? And during the entirety of that beta, we'll have those open. Okay? Now, questions, which I assume will be regarding the main variants. I'm pretty sure that'll be 90% of the questions. All right.
Hold on, closing the raffle for real and then running back over here. Okay, so Royal Haffy, ex-Royal Haffy can still pass them even if it's not Curly Haffy.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as Royal Haffy exists, it can pass.
Yeah, as long as it's in the breeding, it can pass.
To half-main children.
To half-main children. The way that base modifier works is the base main, so every main variant, because this will not be the only main variant that exists. So every main variant will have a base and a modifier. The base is what the main is at the core of it. So if we make one for like long barberries, we would pick long or Barbary as the base main, and that's the main that always inherits the variant. And when the other one is present, that's when it could random itself into existence.
Sorry, counting the raffle at the same time as doing this.
I'm surprised you didn't assign it to somebody else since you were reading the questions.
I didn't think about it.
Okay then. What's my next question? I feel like I've answered that one.
Which mains will get variants?
I don't know yet. I got a couple that people are throwing at me being like, can we do this? Can we do this? I saw a pretty cool Yeti Razor actually, which is very possible that that's going to happen because it was pretty cool looking. Some of the, Royal Happy's the one that people see. People constantly add like little curls to their half mains, but these are designed to take it further than you could ever do with an item edit. You couldn't make the Royal Haffy main that we just showed you with an item edit. You would get denied for looking too much like a curly. So these, we are going to look for those spots where we can get the greatest effect on a main. So you'll probably find them a fair bit in like the razors and the halves and because Because, like, we could do a horse mane that's a long half and then the mane down.
Curly's another one we can
Curly's probably...
match really well because curly long.
Yep, curly longs. Curly's like going to be a really good modifier mane for a ton of things. So we don't have a list of like every possible combination we're doing for the next 5 years. People are bringing them to me with legitimate sketches, which I will allow people to do. Just don't overwhelm me. If I get hit with 30 of them today, I'm going to be like, don't send me anymore.
Sketches, not just concepts.
Yeah, I need a full sketch. But if you have an idea and you want to toss it at me, toss it at me. I take the list, I curate it into what I think would work for the group. Even things that are like, I'm like, oh, these isn't my favorite, that doesn't matter. I still take it and what I think there are people who will enjoy. I distill the list down, present it to dads and managers. Together we make a final agreement, and then I go and find an artist to finish doing it. Just because you bring me something doesn't mean you're going to be the artist.
Royal Halfies were done first because there's been a want for them for literal years.
Yeah, literal years they've been want for them. And then our dear Red put them together in the last 2 months for me. Okay, next.
Right. Do you want the next question, or do you want to tell me what I'm rolling right now so I can get you your winners?
Oh, yeah, I suppose I should do that. I mean...
There are 53 entries if that helps you determine how much I'm rolling right now.
Okay, so this is a possibility of being a fairly contentious podcast, so I'm going to allow you to roll 3 elemental hearts.
Whoa.
Well, that's 3 main variants, okay? I'm allowing you to have 3 main variants.
Yeah, touche. All right, I'll go roll that. And your next question. Not sure if I understood correctly, but if a main variant is produced from a breeding, you can only use those lines by applying the soul mirror?
No. If a main variant is produced in a breeding, then you use those lines.
Or you can use them if you
You
wish
can use them. It's like a physical trait. You can show or carry it. If it's produced, the soul mirror is for applying it to a half main that doesn't have the royal variant on it at all. If you bred a royal halfie, you don't have to think about the soul mirror at all.
1 second, I rolled the same number. I'll come read your thingamajig.
Okay.
Okay. Can I apply a main variant onto a pup that was not born from the parents needed to make the main variant? For
Yes.
example. Okay.
Yes. I don't care. Like, go for it.
Half main.
If it's a half main, go for it.
Woo!
Yeah, we just don't feel like being that restrictive of it, of trying to, like, follow the bloodline. The soul mirror is if you want to spend an elemental heart to apply it to a half main, have fun.
What do variants mean for What do variants mean for line edits?
Well, as I stated a little earlier, which your question may have been sitting there before I said that, in all fairness, so I understand that, is variants are further than you can ever go with line arts. When you look at that, that is way more curls than you could ever add to a half mane. You could do a curl around here, a little curl on the shoulder, some on the bangs, but you couldn't have pulled that off. If you look at, I think it's, oh, what's his name? You own him these days. The golden dyer. Fremont, thank you. Think about Fremont. Fremont's got some curly cues up there on the front, but he's not a royal halfie. Although, when all is said and done might make him a royal halfie.
He's a curly, thank you.
Oh, he's a curly. It's Voltaire I'm thinking of, his dad, who's got
He's also a curly.
Is he? Who am I thinking of who's got the super curly Q bangs?
Oh my god, probably one of mine. I don't know.
It's probably one of Dunn's. Apologies, I don't mean to confuse everybody. But the goal is that these are much further than you would ever go with line edits. Like physical traits, you can make edits to them. Okay? You can totally make edits to them. That's fine. You know, just within the rules of how you would edit a physical trait. That's how it'll roll.
Do you want your winners, or do you want to keep doing questions and do winners at the end of your questions?
I'll do winners at the end of my questions.
Okay. Can any other main pup that's not halfie carry royal halfie? Like fizz traits can be carried by any Toko, or is it only halfies?
No, that will be the big difference between the variants and the physical traits. To inherit it in any capacity, it needs to be a half main, or whatever the base main is of this.
We don't want to. We just fixed the issue we had with sphinx or cheek fur on non-sphinxes. We're not going to recreate it for ourselves.
Yes.
And we got more people typing.
All right. Yeah, I see. I've just presented an entirely new breeding system. Main Variants has had as many questions as the entire new breeding system.
It's because Royal Haffy is delightful, and I'm so happy for it. And yes, I am totally scoping out which of my half mains is getting a glow up.
Is it Novak?
No, Locke just did me a lovely new Novak.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So I'm like, I've got plenty of Haffies. I'll find one.
Oh yeah, you got more than enough Haffies.
No, wait, hold on.
She's reading the question. Give me a second.
Oh, going back up. For example, this is the question from Furry on Earth. Sorry. This is a question earlier about can I apply a main variant to a pup that's not born from parents needed to make the main variant, and you stopped me and said yes. So they thought the rest of the question should be read it, Jesus.
Red?
Red. For example, if my Haffy is from two normal Haffies, no curly or royal Haffy parent at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all...
Yes.
You can apply it to any half main regardless of parentage.
Exactly. As far as Soul Mirror goes, apply it to anybody. It's magic.
Got a dud half main from a razor attempt? Make it a royal. Woo.
Yeah, go for it.
Got somebody still typing.
Okay.
Whew.
Well, I'll go ahead and read winners then while that person's typing. Give them some time.
Oh, they just finished.
Oh, never mind. I'll do the question.
So if we can soul mirror on a variant onto a nat x nat or a breeding that doesn't really have any special mains, will there be a limit to rarity?
What?
I think, so like if you did a nat x nat and got a half main out of it.
Sure, you could use a Soul Mirror to make it a Royal Happy.
Will there be a limit to the rarity?
I don't...
I mean in terms of the pass rates?
I don't think I understand your question, friend.
Go ahead and do words. Clarification, I'll read it once you're done.
Alright, while they're typing the clarification, I'll read the winners. Alright, who's our winners?
We got Lexi, Scribbles, and Tide Sage.
Alright, Lexi, Scribbles, and Tide Sage. Congratulations, you've got an elemental heart. I'm pretty sure we know all of your usernames, so I think Dunn will just be adding those.
Yes. Copper also has enforced this new thing with raffles where you have to post your username when you respond, so we can just go hand things out.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you,
Right?
Copper. Master of Raffles.
Master of raffles. Okay.
We got our clarification?
No, they're still typing. We got another question, though, so we can switch over. Not sure if this has been answered or said, would main variants be able to be used for semi-customs? Yeah, but you'd need a soul mirror in addition to your semi-custom.
Yeah, you'd still have to spend the Soul Mirror on it. Yeah. There's no reason for us to have you put it up without the Soul Mirror to immediately go to import updates to update it with a Soul Mirror. That's just twice as much work for us. Type.
Someone is paying me. Why?
So, we're just waiting on that last clarification. I think that's the last question we've got. And after that, we get to go to my favorite section. I have literally moved away from Done and put like a microphone, an expensive microphone between us.
Like, okay, here we go, our clarification. Like, if I breed a half X nat, can I make it like a variant barb or razor or whatever variant possible?
No, but that's because we don't have any variants for any of those. Like, we only have a Royal Half variant, and you can only make a main into the variant if we have it. So right now there is no Barbary variant for a half main, so you couldn't apply it. And you wouldn't apply a Soul Mirror in breedings at all. You would use it afterwards. I hope that answers the question. Soul Mirror has no effect on breeding. Soul Mirror is only for applying a variant to a Tokota after a breeding. and to have the mane show up or the variant show up randomly, recall you need to have both of the involved manes in there. So there's not really a situation in where you, even if let's say we add a Barbary half mane version, you can't breed a Barbary curly and a half mane together at the same time. So there's still only going to be one random one that pops up. Hopefully that answers the question. When you see the breeding roller, that might help. Like we will have the breeding roller with the main variant in there, and you'll be able to play with it a little bit at that point.
All right, I think we got one more person typing.
Okay. We'll give that one more person a couple minutes still to type. All right, I'm gonna throw some shade on my husband. Says to me this morning, I'll be home by 2. Don't worry. I'll be home by 2 and take over. Thomas. Oh, okay. Gotcha. My game is running past 3 p.m. Hopefully home by 4 p.m.
It's 3:45.
Yeah, this is taking forever, but I'm close. Like, husband of mine, I feel like you're going to be home after 4. Your usual time.
Yes.
All right. Okay. All right, I need to fill the silence while this other question types. So, let's see what I can fill that with. Should I just move on?
I don't know. Can I know what we can fill silence with.
You have to actually fill the silence and not hit tables.
I blanked the moment I looked up. I'm so sorry. Curly razor variant when?
Curly razor variant.
Either direction, I'll be happy.
I mean, yeah, no, I see it. I see it in my head. Isn't that just a question for Red? When can she do it?
Maybe.
She did the curly halfy, and this is just like an extended version of that, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. So I think it's really more of a question of, hey, Red, when can you get around to doing that?
Hey, Jill, when can I release that?
I'm sorry, does that mean Red's already done?
No.
That's what I thought. I was like, hold a second. Did Red just pop up and be like, yeah, I kind of did that already? Red is notorious for that.
Okay. Question. Just popped in, but I heard that edits wouldn't compare to Soul Mirror change allowances, but I've seen extreme edits pass, such as the mentioned horse manes. When, if these will not pass anymore, will there be an announcement, or will these extreme edits be allowed until the Soul Mirror variant is out? We'll get some clarification from our DC manager on that, but my understanding is that edits still cannot use, like, you can't use a long mane physical trait on a half mane.
No, you're not supposed to use that.
If that's passing, that's an oversight.
Yeah, it's an oversight. You can't turn a half mane into a long mane, in a lot of different ways. So as far as the extreme edits go, much like people who used to make edits that then became soul pool traits, we never stopped them from doing it. They got grandfathered into the system, and they never got told they had to change anything. That's likely the pack that will be taken with it. And obviously everyone's going to know when a new variant is coming out, because 1, I'll spoil it in Discord. 2, there'll be an official announcement.
I guess you could consider it much like beards and everything. Like, there used to be lots of beard edits.
Mm-hmm.
Then we added the physical traits, so understandably the variant is a little bit more expensive, but...
Yeah, this variant's a little more expensive than, like, physical traits were.
These days.
Physical
traits used to be this expensive.
Physical traits did actually used to be this expensive. When I joined Tokos, you had to spend an elemental heart for every physical trait that you wanted to add onto a Toko. But yeah, that's where that stands. As always, we're just going to adapt to the situation as it happens and roll with it. I do know that there's like a wild out there that's kind of like a curly long mane, and I believe that's a change we want to make. We're obviously not going to force that Toko to change anything. Okay? So, we're not. We'll adapt as the situation arises, and I'll talk very closely with DC to make sure that it's as smooth as possible on everybody. Any other questions?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, onward we go. I'm excited. All right, are you all excited? Be prepared. This is the point where you're going to make screenshots that you end up throwing in stuff. So be prepared to make your screenshots. All right, thank you for joining us. Now for your regularly scheduled spoilers, which is why I'm sitting across the room from Dunn. I don't think she's prepared for what I've put on this slide. First step. New background coming. Enjoy a piratey themed background with rain and waves. She knows about this one. Rain and waves and wonderfulness. And she's like, yeah, this is what I agreed to. I'm not sure what's going wrong right now.
Yeah, go. Staff made this, and I'm like, we're using this. I want this.
Oh, yes, no, it's paid for. It's paid for, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. It's paid for. And I believe it has 2 variants as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it has 2 variants.
Yes, it has 2 variants. More companions are coming.
Wait.
She agreed to the Rottweiler, not the other 2. What? You went and put Tab down and made a splash screen. You left me alone with the PowerPoint. This isn't even the worst of what I did.
What did you do?
Totems! She kind of knew about these.
You weren't supposed to do all 3.
Yeah, but you did know about them. These are Okapi, Rhino, and Capybara. And they will be the new moose totem equivalents for builds. I can't remember which one is which, though.
Rhino is a Coda, Capybara is Dakino, Okapi is Hara.
There you go. That's what they will be, so.
Can't believe you put all 3 of them here.
I know. Okay, I'm prepared to dodge. You should be prepared to do screenshots. Dun dun dun!
What did you... Jill!
We have a new main coming in 2023. We have the Wrinkle Mane. The Wrinkle Mane will be filling the spot of the less smooth, very rare. Making sure I said it correctly.
No.
No, is he textured?
Less textured, very rare.
Are you sure about that?
I think.
I don't think you're right about that. I'm pretty sure it's smooth.
I'm gonna go check the table.
Go check the table.
Oh no, it is less smooth. I'm smart.
This is the very rare that Sphinx will move up to now. It will be undead-ended, and you will have Wrinkle. In January 2023, we will have Wrinkles. The lines are done. The physical traits are in progress right now. We will release them in January regardless. It just might mean that the physical traits come during the month. But they are in progress. I have like 4 artists working on them to get them done in time. So, this is the new Wrinkle. It's adorable. I really thought I'd be creeped out by this mane. I actually find it pretty cute.
Sharpays can be intense. Daft did this well.
Yes, it's not quite as intense. And for the last spoiler, we also have the Crested Mane!
Jill, that one's not...
And some admins are probably going, what the hell is this? I didn't see this before. I haven't even looked at this. Pretty sure only managers had seen this one. This is Crested. Crested will be filling the spot of the less textured, very rare. Which also means we will be trying our damnedest to get it out for January 2023. In absolute worst case scenario, it may be February. And as soon as we are done with the main line, the baselines, I will have people running on the physical traits as well. So the physical traits on this one may be behind, but we are running at top speed to have both of these mains for January because we have holes in the main family. We will do our best to plug them, but if we don't, then there will be small holes for probably those 2 months.
Yeah. Daft says she's speedrunning the bases tonight.
She is speedrunning. She got me this like 2 days ago? 3 days ago?
Which is why I didn't think you put it in here.
Yeah, she got me this 3 days ago. And this was I believe this was agreed on, Cray will correct me if I'm wrong, are agreed on for the Crested Mane for our standard build. And then obviously we have to replicate this on all of the builds.
From Copper, hey Jill, can I get a Crested for Crested Fridays?
If I can get the lines done, sure. I also need starters for these. I at least have some wrinkle starters already.
Actually, we have quite a few nice starters coming for Jan.
And a devil.
I don't.
And a devil. A
I don't know.
legitimate devil.
I think Han did wonderfully.
Blue and orange devil. Okay. And with that, that's everything I got. That's the whole PowerPoint. Let me go ahead and turn off this. And
Look at that mess. Look at that mess.
Oh, it was a mess. It was totally a mess. I had to scroll up and just make sure that you never looked down. That's why we were go, 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 go. But of course, anyone got any last minute questions? Last call for questions on this. Whew, what are we at right now?
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's still shorter than the build one.
It is shorter than the build one. I had to do a lot more formulas in the build one.
That is true.
Because I had to do all of the new slots, and then the litter sizes, and the breed pass chances.
Point. As Lewis saying, it'll take a little bit to get onto YouTube.
Oh, that's fair. That's completely fair. Anyone typing?
Will there be a starter design contest for the new mains again?
Right now we're running an adventure design contest. We may somewhere around June or July run another starter design contest, but nothing set in stone on that.
I believe, let me go look at the calendar.
Dun's checking the calendar. She placeholders for creation events.
So for I think our best bet would be to run something in March. We've got a thing planned for a game asset art contest. So we could do starters there. I think we should do it in an off month from a holiday just so we don't overwhelm you all.
Yeah, if we do it, it'll be in an off month for a holiday, which would be either March. May is a terrible time to do anything because our students are, all of our admins are. I mean, she probably couldn't stop me, but I'd have to scroll through our Discord to find it, Mizzy, so I'm probably can't do that right now.
And I'll be watching you in chat.
Yeah. Good luck with that. We'll wait for the first time you're busy. But, sorry, as I was saying, we don't do May because tons of our admins are in college, and they're all handling their finals in May. That's why we also don't do a holiday in May. But either March or July, maybe we'll do one there. Anything else?
I think we're good. Don't see anybody typing.
All right, all. Thank you for joining us on this extremely long podcast. And the feedback form is up. Please be
putting it up, rather?
Dun is putting the feedback form up right now. As always, I welcome and encourage your thoughts, positive or negative. Just please be respectful in delivering them. And I'll be in chat at the same time after I go wake up my Thomas. All right. Bye, everybody.